Part 38. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 371. See this scene. Xiao Tianyun and others quickly evacuated from here with everyone in the Xiao family. Just as they evacuated, the Xiao family building behind him turned into ashes. The entire area became a vacuum. This scene completely shocked everyone. Even Xiao Tianyun and others rarely fought side by side. Above the sky, it seems that a being even more powerful than Deluo Jingxian has appeared. This moment, their hearts clenched tightly together. If that's the case, it can only prove that the wolf monster just now was just an appetizer. In other words, the wolf demon is just there to test their bottom line. If the wolf demon can eradicate them, then the person behind the scenes will not come out. But obviously the fall of the wolf demon was something that person didn't expect. So not only was he furious, he even wanted to make a quick decision. They won't be given any time to think or buffer at all. At this time, Xiao Qingyun felt a breath from the source. There are no relatives for her in that world. Xiao Qingyun snorted coldly in his heart. It only proves the person hidden behind the clouds. It's related to ancestor Hong Jun. Because there is only a trace of Hongmeng purple energy in her body. Apart from Patriarch Hong Jun, the only people who could resonate with her were her disciples. But against a little immortal, obviously such a terrifying existence would not be dispatched. So it can only be other people around him. There are only a few people who can obtain the Hongmeng purple qi. Therefore Xiao Qingyun can conclude. The person coming is one of the quasi-sages. What's above the clouds may be a quasi-sage. As soon as this statement came out, the expressions of Xiao Tianyun and others changed drastically. Quasi-saint. That is a terrifying existence that can create its own world. Why are you here? Even if we can deal with the Deluo Jingxian monster, it is impossible to deal with the quasi-saint no matter what. Are we really going to die from this? If we can kill a quasi-sage by dying here, it won't be a pity even on the road to reincarnation. Just be afraid, if we die, it will be just like tickling that quasi-sage. What Xiao Yuqing said. Silence everyone. There is nothing wrong with what he said. If they die, they can bring about the death of a quasi-sage. That is a worthy death. But now I can't die even if I die. I can't survive. Is it really necessary for the head of the family to take action personally? Xiao Junlin frowned and murmured. In that case, let's fight to the death. Xiao Tianyun said with determination. His eyes were fixed on the sky. Xiao Qingyun on the side also took a step forward. I have no regrets in this life. If death can help the head of the family get rid of these people, then it will be considered a worthy death. And I, Xiao Yanyao, am invincible. Even if I die now, I can still achieve greater glory on the road of reincarnation. You can't abandon me. I've seen enough of Miao Renfen in the world of the world. It's time to go to the underworld to show off my ability to arrange flowers and jade. Everyone in the Xiao family smiled. His expression was full of magnanimity. It seemed that what they were about to face was not death, but another kind of detachment. This scene also deeply shocked everyone in the vast world. How can a child of the Xiao family have such a character? It's really valuable. The Xiao family master has been kind to me. Without his help back then, I would not have become the great emperor. Now that he is in trouble, I am obligated to do so. As a strong man, the Xiao family master treats us neighbors well. Now that he is in trouble, I should do my best. Yes, although Master Xiao only did it indirectly, for me, it is a matter of life and death. At this moment, I am just paying him back. What Xiangtai said is absolutely true. You have earned money by living these extra years. Then more and more powerful people join the Xiao family team. Looking at the scene in front of me, Xiao Tianyun and others were moved. If 9 people can't beat him, then 90. If you can't beat 90, just 900. Even an elephant is shaken by ants sometimes. As more and more people join, the team behind the Xiao family is getting bigger and bigger. However, this scene made the man in the sky even more angry. Kunpeng looked at the ants below showing such unity. A ball of unknown anger suddenly hit my heart. A mere ant dares to try to shake an elephant? I don't know how high the sky is. Then he pointed a finger. A shadow slowly appeared in the vast world. I saw a shadow on the sky gradually turning into reality. When everyone in the heavens saw this scene, they couldn't help but be shocked. All he saw was a king-shaped figure above the navel, only a mouth like an eagle's beak, green, with an angry face and exposed teeth. Below the navel is the image of an eagle. He wears a pointed crown on his head, a double-haired shawl, a celestial robe, a ring on his hand, and a golden body. The 2 wings behind it are red and spread outward, its tail droops, and the scattered monster appears in front of you. The people in the heavens may not know it, but everyone in the Xiao family can no longer be familiar with him. It was because of his calculations that Zilong, Yuanfeng, and Kailan disappeared. Kunpeng. It's actually him. Humph. Scum. Can such a person become a saint? Kunpeng can become a saint, so am I not a saint? The words of everyone in the Xiao family angered Kunpeng even more. As his cold snort sounded, the whole world actually trembled. An ant dares to shake the sky. With the power of 1 finger, it comes down. Everyone in the Xiao family felt a boundless pressure sweep over them instantly. Just when they were ready to fight to the death, a huge fireball came from the sky. The fireball carried a destructive momentum. Kunpeng's killing move was instantly repelled. Everyone in the Xiao family raised their heads and looked at the sky. It was discovered that Bai Fangniao came with Xiao Xian. Master. It's the head of the family. Great. The master of the house is here. The master of the family is here. Our lives are not in danger, but the master of the family is in a situation of life and death. Xiao Jiangxin's words instantly silenced everyone in the Xiao family. They even hoped that Xiao Xian would not show up. This will prevent all of this from happening. But today's battle, it is not their sacrifice that will solve the problem. Kunpeng should be killed anyway. Rather than let everyone in the Xiao family die for him, it's better to let him fight to the end. The power of that fireball, directly severely damaging Kunpeng's shadow. The original figure turned into substance. It became ethereal at this moment. Kunpeng's expression changed drastically when he saw this. He didn't expect Xiao Xian in the Golden Realm. There is such a terrifying fighting power. However, when he saw the figure fighting side by side with Xiao Xian, the pupils dilated instantly. It's actually Wangshu. Then I felt happy, sure enough. She is no longer in the black hole of the prehistoric era. You are really good at hiding things. Before he could react, there were once again bursts of strange noises in the sky. Eye of heaven. Even Kunpeng couldn't help but show a look of horror. How could it attract the eye of heaven? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 372. It turned out that Xiao Xian was after Bai Fangniao spit out the fireball. Just use the Patriarch's Jade Pendant and the Patriarch's Ring to improve your realm at the same time. In a short period of time, his cultivation realm broke through from the heavenly immortal realm to the mysterious immortal realm, plus the blessings of various magical powers. At this moment, Xiao Xian's combat power has reached the level of Golden Immortal. Break through 3 major realms in a short period of time. In the eyes of outsiders, it is a miracle. For Xiao Xian, it is not only a challenge, but also the limit. Even if he had a dragon-blooded fighting body, he would not be able to withstand the backlash brought about by his sudden improvement in realm. At this moment, Xiao Xian felt that countless essences were flowing around his body. Even his brain felt trembling. He knew this was a sign that his body had reached its limit. But he had no choice but to fight to the death. Otherwise, Wangshu will leave his side again. He could no longer bear the pain of separation. The waning moon sword rises, and the wind and clouds surge. As Xiao Xian shouted angrily, a terrifying sword energy instantly rushed into the sky. The boundless sword intent swept across the sky. The power of this sword. Not even Kunpeng's shadow could bear it. It was just a flash of sword light. Let his shadow disappear completely. Kunpeng, who returned to the prehistoric world, looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. How can it be? He is just a golden body cultivator, how could he suddenly break through to become a golden immortal? Even the combat power has become so terrifying. Looking at this wound on his body. Although it's just a small wound. But the sword energy visible to the naked eye was constantly devouring the vitality in his body. It took even him a quarter of an hour to remove the sword energy. If the opponent breaks through to quasi-saint, he simply couldn't imagine what the consequences would be. Suddenly he understood why Hung Jun asked him to completely eradicate Xiao Xian. Such people are really terrifying. If you can't be your own friend, it must be eradicated. Just when Kunpeng was immersed in shock. The war in the vast world has caused changes in the entire small world. A terrifying golden light came from the eye of heaven, heading towards Xiao Xian. Now he has broken through to the golden immortal. It is impossible to compete with the eye of heaven. The waning moon sword rises, and the sky collapses and the earth shatters. That moment, winds and clouds surged, the sky collapsed and the earth split, and mountains and rivers collapsed. Countless galaxies exploded at this moment. The whole world fell into a state of darkness. People in the entire small world watched the scene in front of them intently. There was deep disbelief in his eyes. They couldn't believe that an immortal could break through 3 realms in a short period of time. What is even more unexpected is that a sword immortal can actually compete with the sky. What kind of terrifying existence can compete with the sky? What kind of person is the head of the Xiao family to be so terrifying? The eye of heaven. What kind of person would cause the eye of heaven to appear? For a time, countless people fell into silence. This unprecedented battle is beyond their understanding. Regardless of the records from ancient times. Or maybe it's a record of the current world. No one can compete with the way of heaven. Xiao Xian is the first person. Will also be the last one. The terrifying sword force headed towards the sky. The power of chaos and the power of the avenue were blessed by the sword light. The terrifying sword energy swept across the sky. However, such a terrifying blow. But it won't cause any harm to the way of heaven at all. I saw this sword light rushing into the sky. It instantly turned into a stream of flying ash and disappeared. This scene shocked countless people. How so? It's gone. It's gone. Sure enough, no one can compete with the power of heaven. Although Xiao Xian is an unparalleled genius, he has become a thorn in the side of Tiandao. It seems that God is jealous of Yingke. It is not unreasonable. Countless people lamented. They all expressed their regrets for Xiao Xian. But dealing with the way of heaven is simply not something ordinary people like them can do. So no matter how unwilling I feel in my heart, I could only watch silently. Sometimes, the power of the masses cannot shake the authority of God. On the contrary, these resistances will become the reason for God to punish you. Xiao Tianyun looked at the scene in front of him. But he felt sad and guilty for his inaction. Uncle Xian. He wanted to rush forward and fight with Xiao Xian. However, it was restrained by a force. He knew that it was a ray of soul power dispersed by Xiao Xian. The purpose is to prevent them from making unnecessary sacrifices. It's not just Xiao Tianyuan. Even the actions of Xiao Qingyun and others behind him. They were all under control. Even if they are eager to save people, they still have to weigh the pros and cons. If Xiao Xian can win this battle, then the Xiao family will move towards a more glorious path. The future of the children of the Xiao family will be bright. But if it fails, if all the geniuses like Xiao Tianyuan died because of this battle, then the Xiao family will be completely destroyed. Those sect forces that covet the resources of the Xiao family will devour the Xiao family at all costs. Xiao Tianyuan, Xiao Qingyuan, and others shined in the battle against the wolf demon. Even if Xiao Xian really falls, there is no need to worry that the family will disappear because of this. Xiao Tianyuan and others naturally thought of this. But compared to the safety of the family, Xiao Xian's life and death is crucial. At this time, Yeshu, who had been protected by Xiao Xian with the power of chaos, slowly stood up. Her eyes looked firmly at the eye of heaven in the sky. The vast eyes like stars are filled with endless killing intent. Once the green shirt fluttered. The black hair is fluttering in the wind. Her beautiful face was occupied by a determined look. What she saw before her was Xiao Xian's desperate look. Even the eye of heaven is enough to break him to pieces. He also stood in front of everyone without flinching. This scene is so similar to the catastrophe back then. Xian, no matter how many times you are reborn, you can never change the great love in your heart. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Since you choose big love, how can you preserve little love? Yeshu's tone was full of loneliness, but there was no trace of blame. I saw her slowly extending her jade hand. Gently touch the barrier where the power of chaos condenses. A white halo swayed slightly. Then the entire barrier slowly receded. A purple-black light burst out instantly on her body. Then he shot up into the sky. At that moment, the wind and clouds surged and everything shattered. The huge impact caused tens of millions of miles in radius to be razed to the ground. The entire Earth was trembling in huge energy fluctuations. The terrifying power swept across the sky. It turned into a black spear and headed towards the eye of heaven. All of a sudden, the black spear swept across the sky with an unstoppable and terrifying force that could destroy the world. At that moment, everyone was terrified. Even the eye of heaven was shocked by this terrifying power and hurriedly closed its eyes. However, it was too late. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 373. The terrifying power carries a devastating attack power. Heading towards the sky. At that moment, everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. In the shocked eyes of everyone, the spear penetrated the eye of heaven. In an instant, there was rain of blood and strong winds. Don't wait for the eye of heaven to react. The residual power of that killing move penetrated through again. At this moment, everyone fell into silence. It's unbelievable. Someone can actually compete with the sky. What kind of existence is that woman to have such terrifying fighting power? Tiandao is the most powerful existence in the entire universe. Even a saint cannot escape from his hands. This woman has the fighting power to seriously injure heaven. Who is she? I have lived in this world for hundreds of millions of years, and I have never seen such a terrifying existence. The whole world is in chaos. Tiandao was seriously injured, which shocked countless people at this moment. Xiao Xian's indifferent face finally showed a trace of chappedness. He stared at the scene in front of him dumbfounded. His eyes were dull, and even the pain in his body was forgotten. All he could think about was after Yeshu broke through the realm just now. The changes that happened to her. Originally, Yeshu's soul was not stable enough. In addition to the battle that year, the soul in her body has not been repaired. This time the soul ability was used again. Now she can't even defeat a saint. They may even be driven out of their minds because of it. This moment, Xiao Xian hated himself extremely. He hated himself for not being strong enough, so he let Yeshu break through the limit again. As the light above the sky slowly dissipated, Yeshu's figure also gradually fell. Looking at Xiao Xian with an indifferent expression in front of him, she smiled and said, "Look. This is the first time I face the way of heaven alone. What, I am awesome." The picturesque smile made Xiao Xian feel even more bitter. "Didn't I tell you not to take action?" Xiao Xian hugged her tightly in his arms. "I wish I could integrate her into my own flesh and blood. This will prevent the other party from being hurt again. It was you who protected me before, now it's me." Yeshu spoke calmly and looked extremely relaxed. It was as if the move just now was just a normal attack from her. The eye of heaven is just a puppet. To me, it's just a matter of a snap of my fingers. Don't worry about what will happen to me, I am the only bloodline of the innate demon god. Yeshu said it calmly. Xiao Xian's heart became heavier. It is true that she is the only bloodline of the 3,000 demon gods. But the impact of that war on her was also huge. He didn't even escape from his previous life. Not to mention a little devil? How long are you going to hide it from me? Xiao Xian's big hand rubbed Yeshu's face. The look on his face was painful. "It's okay, just take a nap at the ice and fire level and you'll be fine." Yeshu paused and looked into Xiao Xian's eyes with a gentle smile. The eyes of the vast stars fell on Xiao Xian's eyes, making him extremely moved. He also became more determined to become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can we protect Yeshu. Only by becoming stronger can we take revenge. Family crisis resolved. Xiao Xian took Yeshu to the Xiao family in Jikou City. Looking at the changes in Xiao Tianyun and others, they nodded with satisfaction. Xiao Tianyun looked at Yeshu standing beside him. My heart was shocked. This person is so amazing. Even Sister Qingyun is not one-third as good as her. Xiao Qingyun's appearance is unmatched in the whole world. However, the moment Xiao Tianyun saw Yeshu, he couldn't move his eyes away for a while. It's not that he has any thoughts about her, but it's a woman with such an appearance. In fact, it cannot be born from a mortal body. And with such terrifying fighting power, the eye of heaven is no match for her. It seems that this woman's identity is as extraordinary as Uncle Xian's. Xiao Qingyun on the side was completely shocked the moment he saw Yeshu's appearance. The aura this woman gives me actually has a crushing sense of pressure. It feels like she is a born strong person. A woman who can stand beside the master of the house is definitely not a mortal creature. Nuwa sacrificed her life in several battles back then, and she was left with reincarnation for a long time. Only Hope was able to live in the wilderness. It seems that this woman is Wangshu. Although she didn't know how she came to Xiao Xian. But the appearance of the other party can only prove one thing. Those people have already become murderous towards the head of the family. Xiao Xian naturally felt their gaze. He held Yeshu's hand and introduced her identity grandly. Yeshu, the future wife of the head of the household. It is also the reincarnation of Wangshu. As soon as this statement came out, Xiao Tianyun and others felt shocked. She is indeed Wangshu. Everyone came over before they could react. Yeshu smiled, looking like a young lady. But in every move he made, he exuded a trace of the coercion of a strong man. I didn't expect that you would have grown to this point after not seeing each other for such a short period of time. The proud son is indeed extraordinary. Yeshu's words were full of appreciation for them. Even the eyes he looked at them seemed to be looking at a group of young and promising juniors. You must be Xiao Qingyun. Yeshu slowly walked up to Xiao Qingyun, a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. Xiao Qingyun nodded, his heart filled with infinite respect. Born to be an empress. She is a rare talent. I wonder if you have a master. As soon as Yeshu said this, Xiao Qingyun's heartbeat accelerated and his body tensed up unconsciously. She wants to accept her as her disciple. Something she never dared to dream of. However, before Xiao Qingyun could respond, Yeshu's words came again. It turns out there is a master. I was the one who offended him. I'm disrespectful. When Xiao Qingyun heard this, he felt anxious. Even speaking became awkward. No. Never. Disciple. Please accept your respects from the master. Realizing that he had said the wrong thing, he changed his words again. Master is at the bottom. Disciple is at the top. Please accept my daughter's bow. Too many words, too many mistakes. At this moment, Xiao Qingyun was dying of anxiety. She was afraid that this great opportunity would be lost due to her rudeness. With the guidance of the great power, her cultivation realm will be even stronger than it is now. However, the anger she expected did not come as expected. What greeted her was a pair of vast stars. Just one glance calmed Xiao Qingyun's irritable heart. What an interesting little girl. I want this apprentice. Xian, you won't disagree, right? Yeshu looked at Xiao Xian behind him with a smile like a flower. There was a rare hint of childishness on his face. They are all your descendants, and there is no master. Who do you want to be your apprentice? These brats won't even say a word. As soon as Xiao Xian's words came out, Xiao Yuqing raised her hands and said, Me. Me, me, me. However, his special physique almost caused disaster. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 374. Xiao Yuqing just stepped forward. The sentence "my specialty is riding horses and making flowers" came out of my mouth. As soon as the words came to his lips, he immediately braked. My specialty is in the kitchen. I'm good at steaming, cooking, and stir-frying. As soon as these words came out of her mouth, Xiao Yuqing felt that her heart was about to jump into her throat. Fortunately, he was smart and turned a corner. Then he looked at Yeshu mischievously. Master wife, you must have never tasted my craftsmanship. If you accept me as your apprentice, I will keep it under my control so that you can taste all the delicacies in the world. Yeshu chuckled when he heard this. I just want one apprentice. As soon as these words came out, the other geniuses of the Xiao family stopped thinking. At this time, Xiao Xian coughed softly and looked around at everyone present with indifferent eyes. I will get married to Yeshu at the beginning of next month. It is up to you to handle this matter. As soon as this statement came out, everyone in the Xiao family was stunned at first. But he reacted quickly. Xiao Xian and Yeshu have been separated for so many years. Now that we are finally together, the wedding is naturally indispensable. This is not only a commitment but also a commitment. It is also a testimony to their feelings. At the same time, Tiandao's serious injury made Hung Jun finally pay attention to the affairs of the heavens and the world. Looking at the eyes of heaven that will never wake up for 10,000 years, Hung Jun's heart suddenly burst into anger. What a great Wangshu! I see that you are the only remaining demon bloodline in this world, and I intend to spare your life. I can't believe that you are so stubborn and unruly, and have repeatedly ruined my affairs. Since you are seeking your own death, I don't have to think about my old relationship. Hung Jun's body erupted with a terrifying aura. Kunpeng on the side was so frightened that he immediately fell to his knees. But my heart is infinite. He had already mentioned this matter to Hung Jun before. However, the other party didn't pay attention at all. Things are out of control now, and it's useless no matter how anxious you are. Although I thought so in my heart, I didn't dare to show it on my face. He slowly stood up and lowered his head. Ancestor, the top priority now is to eradicate Wangshu. Although the true body in the black hole cannot destroy her. But we were able to defeat her soul. Without her soul, her body is just a ball of loose sand. When the time comes, won't it be easy to kill Xiaoxian? Kunpeng's words received a nod of approval from Hung Jun. I originally thought that Wangshu would not dare to take a bold risk. After all, if something happens to her, Xiaoxian will have no way out. Who would have thought that she would exceed expectations? Not only did the split soul repeatedly conceal Xiaoxian's traces. He even hesitated to destroy his soul and resisted with the eye of heaven. There is a curse from heaven on her body. Don't say she is the last bloodline of the devil. It is the devil who is alive and blessed by the curse of heaven. You will also have to suffer the backlash of countless calamities. Since you are seeking your own death, I can't refuse. Kunpeng, go find Taoist Zunti and ask him to go to Zushan continent with you. You must kill Xiaoxian completely. Yes. Kunpeng's eyes shone brightly, and his face showed a strong sense of pride. Although Wangshu is just a wisp of soul outside. But it also belongs to the bloodline of the devil. If he can take this ray of her soul as his own, then maybe he also has a place in the position of saint. Then he went non-stop to look for Master Zunti. At the same time, the glacier continent has changed from its previous cold scene. There are flowers everywhere, birds are singing and flowers are fragrant, creating a peaceful scene. Among them, there is a road made of roses in full bloom that is particularly eye-catching. The bright red color attracts countless people to look at it. I heard that this is the sea of flowers that Xiaoxian, the head of the Xiao family, spent tens of millions of elves to decorate in order to marry Miss Yeshu from the Ye family in Glacier Continent. Not only is the wedding road covered with flowers, but even the team that comes to welcome the bride are ancient mythical beasts. As many as 200,000 people came to welcome the bride, of which 100,000 were the betrothal gifts alone. This is a unique wedding. The head of the Xiao family is also serious. He is truly a talented and beautiful woman. It is said that Miss Ye's family and the head of Xiao's family were still related by marriage in the previous life. No wonder, this can be regarded as the fruit of cultivation. When the outside world is talking a lot about this prosperous era, the Xiao family's wedding team has arrived at the border of Glacier Continent. There was a faint smile on Xiaoxian's indifferent face. The festive groom's clothes made him look like a god. At this moment, his heart was beating uncontrollably. In this life, this is the first wedding. Being a groom for the first time can make you a little nervous. Xiao Yuking, who was following him, saw this and ran forward in a hurry. He looked at Xiaoxian in a cowardly manner. Master, this is your first time meeting a woman. Do you want me to impart some experience to you? If nothing else, I'm definitely good at becoming an instant hit. I have the skills to survive in the cracks and survive with sticks. It's just your first time, so you will inevitably get discouraged, but as long as you master the rhythm, you can continue to exert force. He didn't wait for Xiao Yuking to finish his words. When the time comes, she can only use that extreme method to urge Huaxian to awaken to the mystery in her womb. Her vitality was obviously severely damaged. As soon as these words came out, in order to avoid future troubles, Taoist Zunti will definitely come in person. I couldn't help but want to teach him a lesson, which showed how much this man deserved a beating. I saw a red light leaping up in the sky instantly, like a meteor flashing away. When everyone in the Xiao family heard this, they immediately shook their heads speechlessly. Yeshu looked at his pale face. This Xiao Yuking is really more troublesome than Xiao Yanyeo. Even if my soul is shattered, I have no regrets. Even normal birth, old age, illness, and death are not possible. If this continues, after the last battle with the Eye of Heaven, how to control this intensity is like grinding. If it's too fast, you'll be almost dead from exhaustion. If it's too slow, you won't be able to achieve the effect. You have to. Coupled with the backlash of the curse of heaven, she is now. Not to mention accompanying Xiao Xian to grow up. Xiao Jiangxin smiled helplessly and shook his head. I'm afraid I won't last long. Yeshu sat in front of the dressing table. Ah! Master, please give me a heads up. I can't bear to just jump 1,000 miles like that. At the same time, looking at the determined expression in the mirror, Yeshu smiled. Looking at the beautiful face in the mirror, I felt gloomy in my heart. During this period, there were frequent signs of souls leaving the body. That guy looked glib, even for someone as calm as Xiao Tianyuan. I am a saint, how can I be compared to ordinary people? Xiao Yanyao snorted coldly when he heard someone calling him names. Xiao Jiangxin only felt that countless horses were galloping past his head. According to his personality, after learning that his soul was split. When I achieve my great deeds as a saint, even the head of the family will not be my opponent. Only a wailing sound was heard coming from the sky. It seems that we can only hope that Hung Jun can come to hunt down Xian as soon as possible, otherwise, everything will be in vain. The last battle must have aroused Hung Jun's anger. That's great, I'm going to marry you. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 375. Sure, when a steady knock on the door sounded, Yejun's figure also appeared behind him. Looking at the daughter she has raised for more than 10 years in front of her, he couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. Today is your wedding day, and I can't give you anything because of your father. I can only wish you to fulfill your long-cherished wish as soon as possible. There is nothing wrong with what Yejun said. As a domain lord, Yeshu has endless resources and terrifying strength. She despises ordinary magic weapons. He couldn't find the scarce magic weapon. Rather than asking for trouble, it is better to send her some blessings belonging to her father. Even if it's just a few simple words. But it also contains the deep love of a father. I can't give you anything else, only these pair of mandarin duck pillows, which I embroidered by myself in the past few days. When Yejun took out a pair of mandarin duck pillows, a trace of embarrassment flashed across his face. Obviously, I feel that this pair of mandarin duck pillows is a bit difficult to handle. But this was the best he could think of. Yeshu could tell what Yejun was thinking at a glance. Although he is the head of the clan. But she thought that the things in her hands could not enter her eyes. That's why we choose the will of mortals. In the human world, he will place his love for the younger generation on needlework. As each stitch is stitched into it. Wait until the wedding day to give it to the other party. Children who receive blessings will live a lifetime of happiness and love. Looking at the uneven embroidery in front of me, Yeshu felt warm in his heart. Thank you, Daddy. Her smile is like a breath of fresh air. Yejun's heart instantly calmed down. Looking at the smiling daughter in front of her, his eyes were filled with fatherly love unconsciously. At this time, there was a sound of gongs and drums coming from outside the door. Yejun picked up the red hijab beside him and slowly put it on Yeshu's head. From today on, you will marry someone else. Although you are someone else's wife, you are still the daughter of the Ye family and my son. If you are wronged outside, you can come back to the Ye family and have your father make the decision for you. Yejun's words made Yeshu deeply moved. The strength of the Ye family is not even 1/3 of the Xiao family. Even though he is one of the few powerful families in the Glacier continent. But comparing the Xiao family and Xiao Xian, there is no comparison at all. Even if Yeshu really suffered any injustice in the Xiao family, Yejun has no possibility of seeking justice. But what he said was enough to prove that it also occupied an important position in his heart. Hearing this, Yeshu nodded heavily. Although his face is covered by a red hijab, but he couldn't hide his moist eyes. At this time, the bride outside the door has come to greet the bride. Under Yejun's watchful eyes, he got on the sedan chair. Xiao Xian stared at the beauty in front of him intently, holding her hand tightly. Sure, I finally married you back. His tone was extremely excited, but he was trying to control it. Hence the slight tremor. A faint hum, but mixed with reassuring power. This sound also made Xiao Xian understand that this was not a dream. But it really exists. I wanted to lift up the red hijab and look at the pretty girl inside. But we also know that in ancient times, the most important thing was auspicious times and auspicious days. So suppress the excitement in your heart. Just then, a breeze blew by, blowing up the red hijabs and disturbing everyone's hearts. There is a saying, the beauty of the country is charming, and the lotus is moved slowly. She has an appearance like a royal queen, a face like a Chu girl, a flower interpreting words like a flower, and a jade-like fragrance. This scene shocked countless people. I have long heard that the Miss Ye family is unrivaled, but when I saw her today, she turned out to be so stunning. You can't find a few people like this in the entire world. It's no wonder that the head of the Xiao family spends a lot of money to arrange such a beautiful wedding. Even when Xiao Xian saw it, he couldn't help but gasp. Then he pointed his finger, and the breeze hit an unknown place. How could he not know the tricks of the Xiao family's children? But I just want to see my beautiful lady in advance. As the Baifang bird took off, the three-legged golden crow took with it a group of Xiao family's bird pets. Soar in the sky and scatter the flowers in the flower basket. The beautiful picture attracted the attention of countless people. At the same time, the huge momentum of the prehistoric world attracted the attention of various small worlds. Taoist Zunti and Kunpeng Kuei Sage led a group of people to the heavens. The moment the world's barrier is opened, countless innocent souls imprisoned in the cracks of the barrier all broke free at that moment. I am free. From today on, no one will be able to stop me. Heavens! Fresh human blood. Human. Living human. It's been a long time since I tasted the taste of a living soul. Countless evil ghosts rushed out. It attracted widespread attention throughout the universe. At this moment, all the human forces in the heavens came out. Go and fight against the evil spirits who come out of the small world. Taoist Zunti looked at the scene in front of him. There was a hint of pity in his eyes. Sad human beings, without strong strength, can only wait for death. Once discovered, there is only death. I saw him point his finger. Look in the direction pointed. Instead of doing nothing every day, it is better to transcend and die as soon as possible. It is also a good choice for them. The rest are all ants. Everyone disappeared at this moment. Full of disbelief. No. It is also a driving development for the entire world. Kunpeng pointed to the scene in front of him and said with surprise in his eyes. It moved towards the slowly flying Baifang Niao with a terrifying aura that could destroy the world. At that moment, Xiao Xian's pupils collapsed. The speed was so fast, like a meteor that passed by in a flash. Master Zunti, look. Because in his eyes, his inner thoughts are completely invisible. A demon god actually wants to have human emotions. How ridiculous. Countless people were stunned, and even Xiao Xian was unable to react. Even trash-like existence. In his eyes, those humans have no cultivation strength or even low strength. Remaining in this world is just a waste of resources. At that moment, he seemed to hear the sound of heartbreak. In the world of saints, only existences like the saints of heaven are the objects of their awe. Even Taoist Zunti smiled interestingly. A terrifying momentum suddenly fell from the sky. But he didn't dare to have the slightest inappropriate thought. Taoist Zunti's face was full of emotion, but what he said was frightening. Wang Shu, after all these years, you still haven't figured out the mystery of this. It's no wonder you become weaker and weaker as time goes by. Since you want to have the ridiculous human love so much, then why can't I make it happen? His body was stiff, but he was trembling slightly. He just felt that the world had fallen into a blank state. Only the beauty slowly disappearing in front of him was left. A terrifying saint's power fell from the sky instantly. A heart-rending roar instantly erupted from his throat. Kunpeng on the side felt cold in his heart. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 376. At this moment, a look of despair burst out from Xiaoxian's body, continuously extending to all directions, shrouding the hearts of countless people. Just when everyone thought this unprecedented wedding would have a perfect ending, a saint's power from the sky was instantly blessed. In the shocked eyes of countless people, penetrating Yeshu's beautiful and picturesque face, she was as thin as a discarded rag doll. Falling towards the ground instantly, red clothes fluttered and blood spilled into the sky. It's like a flower blooming on white painting paper. Gorgeous and dazzling. At that moment, everyone fell into silence. Everything is silent and time stands still. Xiaoxian's figure jumped down and headed towards the falling body. Wangshu. The heart-rending shouts made everyone unable to bear to watch. Xiaoxian used all the magical powers and magical skills in his body that could increase speed. But it was still less than 1/10 of Yeshu's falling speed. Wangshu. No. Can't. Absolutely not. He finally had her, how could he lose her again? For a moment, a terrifying aura erupted from his body. Everything around him, the aura of heaven and earth, the ghosts, monsters, ghosts, all seemed to be affected at this moment. A sense of sadness emanates from the bottom of my heart. The entire glacier continent was shrouded in a deathly silence. It's like being in a dead city. In a world full of life, yet in a lifeless world. Countless spiritual energies are constantly gathering together, integrated into Xiaoxian's body. Countless rays of light in the sky converged into a white aurora, mixed with the terrifying dark aura emanating from Xiaoxian's body. Forming the two poles of black and white, they complement each other. A steady stream of vitality blends into a huge aperture. It shrouded Xiaoxian's body. Countless stars are scattered outside the circle of light. A galaxy-like halo is formed, surrounding the outer edge of the aperture. It's like a world that has not yet been opened up. Xiaoxian, who was in the circle of light, was like a newly formed egg. It was surrounded by countless milky white light spots. At this moment, countless past life memory coefficients poured into my heart. Zhengdao is a ray of innate spirit, and the soul has matured into a body through calamities. The mysterious and demonic parties teach magicians, and don't hear about the creation of the world. Until the end of history, the names of the four religions have disappeared, and they have not taken half a step away from the vast world. Hidden ancestor Kang Hunyuanzun, the holy name will not remain today. However, among all the gods in the universe, God will never live alone forever. At the beginning of the birth of the universe, there was an innate Hunyuan spirit, whose spiritual orifice first opened and gradually gained sanity. This Yuanling has practiced for countless lifetimes, and its merits and virtues have been perfected, and its Taoism has been accomplished. In the long and unbearable chaotic universe, the founding Yuanling became the only awake person in the universe, enduring unimaginable loneliness. It seems that in order to complete some agreed and mysterious mission, the founding Yuanling used the supreme spiritual power of the artifact in the production of countless calamities. The world of chaos gave rise to 3,000 avenues and 3,000 demon gods. Then the 3,000 Dao and the 3,000 demonic gods fought among themselves one after another, and then fell one after another, creating a prehistoric world. The Great Road recedes, and the heavenly way emerges. Only Pangu was left. Pangu wanted to directly prove the Great Road, use the tunnel power to cut through the chaos and open up the world. However, the success failed and the body turned into a wilderness. Before Pangu created the world, the founding Yuanling found 4 creatures with different images and newly opened spiritual apertures, and asked them to practice one discipline each. The eldest ancestor, Hong Jun, cultivates Qianqing Qi. The second child joined Master Kun and practiced Qianling Qi. The third eldest daughter, Nuwa, practiced Suankai. The fourth brother, Lu Yadaojun, cultivated Qianming Qi. The combination is clear, empty, and bright. But as the great Dao fell, the heavenly Dao emerged. Several Yuanlings who were given abilities by the founding Yuanling want to monopolize the ancient world. Was opposed by Empress Nuwa. Mr. Lu Yadao is a fool by nature and has never been serious. He was plotted by Patriarch Hong Jun and Grand Master Hunkin. From now on, he is no longer within the 3 realms and transcends the 5 elements. Therefore, it has become the most unfettered existence. However, because of her strong opposition, Nuwa was plotted by Patriarch Hong Jun and Grand Master Hunkin. As a result, they both wanted to practice Qianqi, only to find that this spell disappeared when the opponent fell. Since the beginning of the world, the founding Yuanling has never appeared in the 3 realms. Until the emergence of immeasurable evil. The immeasurable demon formed its form together with the founding spirit when it was born. In order to fulfill his long-cherished wish with his powerful enemy, he must complete the killing calamity. But this is exactly what heaven means. Although Dao has retreated, he is still the most powerful existence in the entire world. Therefore, in order to become the true number 1, the only way is to destroy the founding spirit. Thus the avenue was completely destroyed. But to complete the step, you must become the puppet of the infinite evil. To avoid the damage caused by immeasurable calamities, he designated Patriarch Hong Jun as a saint of heaven to serve as a shield against immeasurable calamities. Ancestor Hong Jun colluded with the way of heaven and helped the infinite demons overthrow the master of the great path who founded Yuanling. First, Luahu was used to kill people to prove the way, so that Ancestor Hong Jun could reasonably become a saint of heaven. Laying the foundation of the way of heaven is the foundation of the right way. In this battle, countless strong men fell, and the strongest was only the Golden Immortal. The disciple of Patriarch Hong Kun was Taoist Zunti. Instigating a war between liches and further intensifying conflicts and disputes in the prehistoric world. Unexpectedly, Nuwa was born. Although Nuwa was killed by Hong Jun and Kunkin together. But because Dao is immortal and Nuwa is immortal, she reincarnates again. And recultivate the mysterious air to create humans and mend the sky. Although all this turned the tide in the end, it also caused the entire plan to be postponed for countless great years. Because Patriarch Hong Jun, the Sage of Heaven, gave 3 sermons to speed up the planning process. This time, saints emerged in large numbers, all of whom regarded the way of heaven as their main priority. The avenue was completely forgotten. Countless demons appeared and fought against the founding Yuanling. With the blessing of Ancestor Hong Jun and Tiandao, although the opponent severely damaged them. But he died because of this, and he wanted to completely destroy his soul. I have never thought of Wang Shu, an innate demon god with bloodline. In addition, the immeasurable evil demon was seriously injured and fell into the process of self-repair. They could only give up for the time being, but they did not give up searching for the soul of the founding spirit. Until now. Xiao Xian's eyes gradually became clear. There seemed to be thousands of avenues of energy flowing through his pupils. Gradually spread outward. At that moment, a strong aura of the avenue burst out instantly. The entire aperture turned into countless fragments, sweeping around. At this moment, countless people felt the crushing power of the great avenue. I felt so awed that I didn't even dare to look directly at him. This scene caused Taoist Zunti's expression to change drastically. Not good. He has awakened the mystery in the womb. He had witnessed with his own eyes how terrifying the founding Yuanling was. Even with the blessings from the three parties of Infinite Henmo, Tiandao, and Ancestor Hung Jun, it cannot be completely defeated. He is just a mere saint, how can he be defeated? However, before he could start to escape, he found that he had already been targeted. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 377. When Taoist Zunti cast his gaze on the rioting figure, I just felt that the breath of death enveloped me. Being targeted by such a demon will lead to death. Even if he is a feared existence in the whole world. When faced with an existence like the founding Yuanling, he has no ability to parry. It's like a cultivator who has practiced for countless galactic years facing a newly formed egg. No, he is not even as good as that egg. Xiao Xian's figure instantly appeared in front of Yeshu. Hold her gently in your arms. Even if he has poured countless spiritual power into the other party's body, there is no way to restore the vitality she lost. Sure. There was no emotion in Xiao Xian's voice, and even the expression on his face showed no emotion at all. At this moment, he seemed like a wooden man without emotions. Only the constantly turbulent breath on her body proved her sadness and pain. Yeshu's body gradually relaxed, and purple-black light spots floated out. Her beautiful face turned pale due to excessive blood loss. Xian, you're back. She slowly stretched out her hand that was about to disappear and touched Xiao Xian's face. The warm touch made her smile gently again. I thought I would never see you again. It's great. With a thought from Xiao Xian, Yeshu's shattered soul no longer drifted away. Gradually it condensed into an invisible and colorless spirit. Have a good sleep. When you wake up, everything will be settled. Without waiting for Xiao Xian to deepen this embrace, the person in his arms had completely disappeared. Only a formless and colorless form without any intelligence remains. Wangshu is the only bloodline of the innate demon god and has no spiritual body. It was Xiao Xian's ray of great luck that blessed his body, and then a spirit body was regenerated. As long as Dao Dao does not die, with Yeshu's strength, he can split into a soul form. But the pain that must be endured is beyond what ordinary people can tolerate. Looking at the figure in front of him, Xiao Xian waved his hand. Then he collected it into his own sea of consciousness. His sea of consciousness is wider than the vast universe. It contains inexhaustible great luck. Wangshu's soul staying in it can not only nourish the soul. The curse of heaven cannot work here either. But wants to make amends for the trauma of her divided soul. You must go to Shinwu continent to find the I soul spirit. Only with this thing can we ensure that her soul will not dissipate. But this is all for later. What needs to be done now is to let those people know the price of hurting the people they love. In an instant, Xiao Xian's figure appeared in front of Taoist Zunti. It was silent and shocked everyone. This scene above the sky attracted the attention of all the small worlds. Countless strong men were frightened when they saw the terrifying aura erupting from Xiao Xian. It's actually a great avenue. There is actually a great avenue in this world. It is said that before the universe was opened, there was a founding spirit. That founding spirit had the power of the Dao, which was even more terrifying than the Dao of heaven. I thought the head of the Xiao family was just gifted, but I never thought he was the reincarnation of the founding spirit. Now that he has broken through the mystery in the womb and regained the terrifying strength of his previous life, even heaven does not dare to have an objection to him. Such terrifying strength makes us afraid. For a time, everyone in the small world had different opinions. Countless people were immersed in Xiao Xian's terrifying strength. In their eyes, although the great Dao has retreated, it has always been an existence feared by the Dao of heaven. If one can cultivate the great Dao, even though he is still controlled by the heavenly Dao, he will be the best among 10,000 people. At this moment, Zunti Taoist's heart seemed to burst out of his chest to survive alone. His brain shut down instantly and his whole body fell into a state of petrification. It's been so long since I last saw you, you're still the same as before, short, fat and round. As soon as these words were spoken, Taoist Zunti's feet instantly became weak. But when I thought of what happened before, my heart became quiet again. The founding spirit has always been compassionate. Treat everything in the world as your descendants. Therefore, he is particularly protective of his shortcomings, even if he does something that can destroy the world. In his mind, it was his own lax discipline that caused countless calamities. Therefore, his fraternity has become a major tool used by Patriarch Hung Jun and others. Thinking of this, Master Zunti immediately knelt down and kowtowed. The founding Yuanling is on top. If it hadn't been for the appearance of those evil ghosts, I wouldn't have accidentally killed Wangshu. But you have collected her soul, and you can resurrect her even if you die. But when a mortal person dies, he or she really dies, and I have no choice but to do so. These words wiped away all the faults. There was a trace of ridicule on Xiao Xian's cold face. What familiar words! Wasn't he like this in his previous life? This led to everything that happened next. So you were right to kill, but the wrong thing was that the person you killed shouldn't be here, right? Don't wait for the Taoist to answer. However, this is only the beginning. A huge force of great power instantly rushed into the sky. Break through the world barrier that was defeated by the prehistoric world. Directly hit Hung Jun, who was watching, and left. Kunpeng on the side was even more frightened and his body was trembling. Not even a saint can fight back. All I can do is die. The crowd of people following behind them saw this scene. Kunpeng on the side saw this and was already speechless. Although Xiao Xian gained supreme abilities, the terrifying explosive force instantly penetrated his body. Then he pointed a finger. At the same time. But that doesn't mean it won't hurt. How could he be so scary? Saint. That's a saint. Although they can recover from their injuries in the shortest time. Under Xiao Xian's tyranny, Taoist Zunti could only breathe. He immediately collapsed to the ground and couldn't even make a sound. They don't dare to provoke such a terrifying existence, let alone risk their own lives for the sake of the Taoist's life and death. The saint already belongs to the immortal existence. Over and over again, endlessly. He didn't expect that the founding Yuanling after reincarnation would be so ruthless. Xiao Xian's eyes fell on Zunti. At that time, the Taoist's body had just recovered a little. Above the sky. Although I was extremely happy in my heart, I always felt aggrieved. An attack silently penetrated his body again. Bring him endless pain. The severe pain instantly spread throughout the limbs and bones, causing Zunti's face to become distorted. But the pain caused by the injury is also unbearable for them. But he lost the person he loved the most. With his character, he must be very remorseful. All fell into silence. Everyone in the Xiao family looked at the brutalized Taoist Zunti in the sky with indignation. Yet they had no ability to help him. Looking at Xiao Xian, he looked at him like this. Go back and tell your people that I will personally come to demand today's revenge. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 378. A sudden scene. Hung Jun was caught off guard. The terrifying great luck is like a dragon rising into the sky in an instant. Coming head-on with endless avenue momentum. This scene shocked Hung Jun. Then use magic to resist all this. However, that terrifying killing move was about to penetrate his chest at the moment. Disappeared without a trace. At this moment, Hung Jun was annoyed and angry. Damn the founding spirit. How dare you play tricks on me? I am a saint of heaven. So what if you teach me all the methods of cultivation? The best is better than the blue. It's enough to prove that I can bring you down completely. This world can only belong to me. At this time, the severely wounded Taoist Zunti appeared in front of him with the help of Kunpeng. He was already very bloated. After Xiao Xian's critical blow, he was not only short and fat, but also looked very bloated. At first glance, it looks like a chubby roly-poly. Coupled with the ferocious expression, it is even more comical. Even Patriarch Hung Jun was shocked. How could he be so cruel? Kunpeng hurried forward and told everything that happened. Hung Jun was shocked when he learned the whole story. Now Xiao Xian has recovered all his memories. The terrifying fighting power may not necessarily defeat him even if countless demons come in person. If you want to knock him down again, you must plan ahead. Otherwise, they will all die. But Xiao Xian learned a lesson from the last time. Obviously I won't be fooled again. And his reincarnation as a human gave him an even more iron-hearted heart. Ordinary tactics no longer work. If you want to completely defeat Xiao Xian, you must hit it with one blow. You guys should take good care of your injuries here, and I'll go to that place to meet you for a while. Kunpeng and Taoist Zunti looked at each other, and then bowed, farewell to my ancestor. Now we can only call on that person. Only then can they help them eradicate Xiao Xian. The eye of heaven fell into a lethargic process. Otherwise, we can start with the eye of heaven to add some painless and non-itchy scratches to Xiao Xian, thereby blocking his footsteps. Nowadays, the only way out is the infinite evil. If Xiao Xian is not eliminated, there will never be another day in the wilderness. A world of stars in the vast universe, constantly delivering even breathing sounds. Here, there is a black human figure. Lines of terrifying demonic energy continued to emanate from it. Gradually it spread in all directions and occupied the entire world. Even if a saint is here, he dares to enter easily. Ancestor Hung Jun stood outside the barrier and watched for a moment. Then he took out a goose yellow light. The wick is formed from a wisp of demonic energy, emitting a dark black light. As the lamp was lit, the surrounding demonic energy was also dissipated. A path of starlight gradually appeared in the vast universe. Hung Jun moved forward along the path, and the barrier behind him fell into darkness again. I don't know how long I walked forward, but I finally came to the black body. Greetings to the infinite demon. Hung Jun hung the light in his hand in the air, illuminating only a cluster of directions above his head. Waste. With a cold snort, a huge force came to him instantly. The blow hit him. At that moment, the sound of shattering could be heard from all the limbs and bones. It came with a burst of breathing. The severe pain kept increasing, until the limit that Hung Jun can bear. The immeasurable evil demon is angry, and the plan for now is to figure out how to eradicate Xiao Xian. If we let him recover, I'm afraid we will all be in trouble. The immeasurable demon in front of him fell silent. It was as if Hung Jun had never heard these words. Don't wait for him to continue speaking. He was instantly pushed out by a force of gravity. Wait for him to react again. I don't know how far away from that world. Your calculations are so loud. If he didn't want to argue with you today, he would have turned into ashes long ago. A loud voice came from the sky. There was a hint of sullenness in his voice. Looking up, he saw a figure in black. He looks nothing more than a young man of 15 or 16 years old. But he is the incarnation of heaven. Look at Ancestor Hung Jun like this. He was even more indifferent in his heart. If it weren't for his own plan to unify the world, how could he choose Hung Jun as his successor? The completion of those things will cause countless immeasurable tribulations. Even if he is the way of heaven, he cannot avoid them all. Just like Deo in those days, he took everything into his own hands. In the end, not only will his spiritual power be divided up by others, even being repaid with kindness by his subordinates. He would not do such a good deed without reward. To survive in his hands, in addition to giving benefits, you also have to bear risks for him. Just like Hung Jun, who endured the immeasurable calamity that should have been his for him. As a saint of heaven, this is your duty. If it weren't for the heavenly Dao, it would be difficult to find a saint. How could he rescue Hung Jun from the hands of the immeasurable evil? It's just a chess piece. That's all, let me give up this pain for you. Then he pointed a finger. All the pain in Hung Jun's body disappeared. Thank you, God. Then he stood up and saluted towards heaven. But there was a lot of dissatisfaction in my heart. Although Wuliang Hengmo is still recovering. But to deal with a newly awakened soul, it is simply a piece of cake. I don't know what he is afraid of. If Xiaoxian were allowed to come to the prehistoric world, he will be the first person to die. What happened back then was caused by him. At the moment when Hung Jun was thinking, Tiandao suddenly vomited blood. An immeasurable amount of calamity instantly sank into his body. In just one breath, his luck fluctuated greatly. This is great luck. How could there be great luck? Hung Jun was in disbelief. He had never even had contact with Xiaoxian. The only contact was the killing move that disappeared out of thin air. Thinking of this, his eyes widened instantly. It was obviously hard to believe that Xiaoxian would leave that killing move here. Then in front of Tiandao, he began to deduce Xiaoxian's next luck. However, when he first performed the deduction, the way of heaven was once again swallowed up by immeasurable calamities. Even Hung Jun's fate was completely changed at this moment. See this. Tiandao hurriedly interrupted his deduction. And during the contact process, all immeasurable calamities were transferred to Hung Jun's body. It's up to him to bear what he has to face next. Tiandao, what do you mean by this? He had clearly guessed a hint of red blood. Only a little bit away, we can deduce Xiaoxian's future trend. Tiandao sneered, with your strength, do you think you are worthy? Even he can't bear the fate of the Great Road, a small spirit body. Also want to deduce the trend of the road? It's really overestimating one's abilities. If I hadn't stopped you in time, you would have become a lonely ghost. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 379. Hung Jun couldn't help but feel scared. Recalling Xiaoxian's terrifying fighting power, there is even a sense of joy in surviving the disaster. Then how can we eradicate him? Is it possible to let him continue to show off his power like this? Hung Jun calmed down and thought carefully about the development of the entire incident. If Xiaoxian doesn't die, the first thing he will do when he comes to Honghuang is just get rid of him. Now that Patriarch Han Kun has retired from the world, Xiaoxian even wants to take revenge on him. It also takes a while. But it is very easy to eradicate him. Mr. Liu Yadao is also a free and easy Sangxian. Otherwise, he could still regard Lord Liu Ya as his target. How could heaven never know what Hung Jun was thinking? It's just that he wants to contaminate the cause and effect with his own hands. To eradicate Xiaoxian, we can only start with Wang Shu. Hung Jun's eyes lit up and he asked tentatively, what do you mean? Tiandao nodded, just as you thought. Eliminate the soul-fixing ice spirit. Make it impossible for him to stabilize Wang Shu's soul, and attack him mentally. Hung Jun said with high spirits, even his eyes were brighter. He didn't even realize what Tiandao meant by his words. From the moment Hung Jun asked, Tiandao responded in a roundabout way. As a bloodline of the innate demon god, Wang Shu has the power to split the soul. It is impossible to restore her soul state. The only one who can help her is Bing Pojeng. Tiandao's words rang in his ears, and Hung Jun nodded. Think more about it in your mind. The number of ice soul spirits has gradually decreased since that battle in ancient times. As of today, it is on the verge of disappearing. According to recorded historical statistics, there is only the Xinhua continent. If the ice soul spirit is destroyed, Wangshu's soul will no longer exist. No matter how powerful Xiao Xian is, it is definitely impossible to completely restore her soul. There is no exception like Wangshu. Then it would be very simple to eradicate Xiao Xian. I know what to do. When Tiandao saw this, a hint of gloom flashed in his eyes, but he didn't show it. You are indeed a transparent person. I saw you right. I'll leave this matter to you. Seeing that Hung Jun was confident, he said no more. Then disappeared before their eyes. All heavens and continents. Xiao Family Hall. Xiao Jianfeng and other 9 senior elders, as well as the Xiao family's geniuses gathered together. Seeing Xiao Tianyun arriving, Xiao Jianfeng stood up and looked at everyone. Now that everyone is here, let's go to the conference room. The others looked at each other and nodded in agreement. A group of people filed in and arrived at the conference room. Xiao Tianyun is sitting in the first place on the far right side, followed by family geniuses such as Xiao Jiangxin and Xiao Qingyun. Sitting opposite were the 9 elders headed by Xiao Jianfeng. At the front of them is the scene from the last battle. The last time the saints of the prehistoric world raided, the barriers of the heavens and the world were broken, and thousands of ghosts appeared. Although the family sent many disciples to support him, they were unable to withstand the outpouring of the source of all ghosts. Xiao Jianfeng paused the scene at the moment when the world barrier was broken. In the picture, countless evil ghosts and ghosts are out in force. The whole scene reveals a deep sense of loneliness and resentment. Although the family leader later broke through the mystery of the womb and repaired the world barrier, but those who have escaped are still causing trouble in the world, and the family still needs to send some powerful disciples to support them. Xiao Jianfeng looked at the people present with a solemn expression. Except for Xiao Tianyun and others, the rest of the family's geniuses are not qualified. The evil spirits that appeared this time were cultivators in the immortal realm. If other members of the family go, it will only increase the damage. Hearing this, Xiao Zhangtian slowly stood up. The hauntings of evil ghosts and innocent souls should have been under the jurisdiction of the underworld, but now heaven and Buddhism have no control over them. This time after the recovery, I will lead the children of the family to go there, so that they can practice their skills. Secondly, it also exercises their tacit understanding. Among them are 2 juniors who practice combined attack skills. Xiao Jianfeng nodded, yes, the 2 of them are currently training in Xinhua continent. When everyone heard this, they were heartbroken. Xinhua continent, even Xiao Tianyun couldn't help but said in surprise. I remember that there were the most evil ghosts and innocent souls there, and it seemed that the people had no way to survive anymore. Even the people in the underworld can't control it. Is it okay for the 2 of them to go there? Xiao Jianfeng sighed slightly. Logically speaking, with their cultivation as Dao Slayer King, they shouldn't go there. But after the last war, they somehow learned that there were ice spirits in the Xinhua continent. He compiled and recorded everything and stored it in the family archives. By the time they found it, they had been destroyed by those people. He would destroy the whole world for her without saying a word. Even the climate and environment are not enough for it to continue to thrive. Even in ancient records, there is no news about the ice spirit. Xiao Jianfeng's sigh made everyone in the Xiao family present extremely worried. At that time, he will be the real Lord of Destruction. What they can think of, people in the prehistoric world will naturally think of. It can soothe Wangshu's soul to a great extent. Even if the ice spirit still exists in this world. What Chopin said is not unreasonable. Xiao Bang sighed slightly, although this I-Soul spirit has the ability to solidify the soul and stabilize the soul. When Wangshu wakes up, he will be given a new life. It has been in the back mountain. Wangshu will die. But after all, it is a product of the ancient times. In today's era, not only spiritual power cannot support its survival. If the head of the family can't find the I-Soul spirit, Wangshu's soul will eventually dissipate. I thought I would take this opportunity to go and inquire about it. Firstly, I can gain experience, and secondly, I can help the head of the family. No matter which way you start, there is only one way. After Xiao Xian broke through the mystery of the fetus last time. But it can delay the dispersion of the soul. With Xiao Xian's current strength, I am afraid that the world will fall into darkness. Coupled with the richness of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and the nourishment of Xiao Xian's sea of consciousness. They all can see how deep Xiao Xian's feelings are for Wangshu. Even Chopin said there was no such thing, which shows that there is no Bing Pojing in the entire universe. Although the tree of life cannot repair Wangshu's soul. If Wangshu could die for him, Xiao Xian would naturally be willing to give everything for her. After the I-Soul essence is integrated with it, everyone suddenly fell into silence. Chopin's words caused everyone to fall into silence again. I'm afraid those two boys from the Xiao family will go home disappointed, and the head of the family will also be completely trapped by this incident. Even if he gathers other souls, it won't help. I'm afraid that the head of the family will go crazy. Whether it's past family events or current family events. When everyone in the Xiao family thought of this, they felt a chill in their hearts. I'm just afraid of someone with a bad intention. He manages all entry work in the family. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 380. Xiao Qingyun's fingertips lightly touched the table. The expression on his face was cold and aloof, which was intimidating. She actually had some understanding of the Bing Pojing. In the previous life of experience, I searched for a lot of relevant information because I needed the I-Soul essence. But not much useful information was found. Even if we search for ancient records from ancient times, there are only 2 or 3 sentences. Bing Pojing is a type of spirit that survives in extremely cold environments. It is different from animals that can practice. As well as plants that are nourished by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, they not only need rich spiritual energy. Even the climate environment is extremely picky. Although it grows in extremely cold places, it is not cold resistant. Instead, heat is needed to maintain his vital signs, and he cannot survive without either of these 2 factors. Xiao Qingyun's words attracted everyone's attention. Even in the library pavilion, there is no record of the Bing Pojing. After all, this is just a spiritual body that practices cultivation. Xiao Junlin on the side nodded and agreed with Xiao Qingyun's words. Bing Pojing has been briefly introduced in the information he collected. In addition to the ability of the I-Soul essence to stabilize the soul, it also has the function of improving the combat effectiveness of cultivators. The user can improve to 2 major realms in a short period of time, and even the combat effectiveness will be instantly increased by 300 times. In addition, it has no side effects, so it has become an important spiritual body for countless cultivators to improve their realm. This is also one of the reasons why the I-Soul spirits became extinct. The existing I-Soul spirits in the world today are. There is only record of Xinhua continent, and it is just an ambiguous statement. Xiao Junlin's words also gave the Xiao family a clearer recognition of Bing Pojing. If this is the case, there will be many cultivators heading to Xinhua continent. Xiao Jianfeng frowned slightly and lowered his head solemnly. Although the master's strength is unmatched in the entire universe, even in the prehistoric world. But the I-Soul spirit belongs to a type of spirit body that recognizes its master. If the I-Soul spirit has already recognized its master, Even if the head of the family is found, it is impossible to take back the spirit body that recognizes the owner. Even if that person dies, it won't help. Xiao Junlin's words once again caused the atmosphere in the entire conference room to plummet. Xiao Xian's matter is no longer just his matter. It's something that the entire Xiao family is concerned about and wants to solve. Although there are records in Xinhua continent, the specific location is not known. A thought flashed through Xiao Jianfeng's mind. If you can know the specific location, you may be able to find it one step ahead of time. But in fact, Xiao Xian already knew the specific location of Bing Pojing. It's just that the appearance of the I-Soul spirit follows the laws of heaven and earth. The fastest time was also 3 years later. Even if Xiao Xian is the founding Yuanling, he cannot change the laws of heaven and earth without permission. He has a small love for Wangshu, but a great love for all living beings. He created everything in the universe at the beginning, even for the sake of the people in the prehistoric world. He will not hesitate to destroy his own body and restore the vitality of the entire earth. The purpose is to keep the whole world running on a normal track. After creating this world, he and the world are two independent entities. Coupled with the retreat of the Dao of heaven is derived. Even if he is the founding Yuanling. Nor can we interfere with the rules of this world. Xiao Junlin dug out the records in ancient books. And draw a rough topographic map based on what is described above. Xinhua continent is dominated by glaciers and snow, and the highest peak is the capital of Xinhua continent. There is the only remaining I-Soul spirit there, but the top of the main peak has reached the top of the snow mountain. Even if Jingxian goes there, it will take a certain amount of time, plus it is one of the areas belonging to the largest family in the area. Not only is it heavily guarded, but even the road up the mountain is patrolled by high-level monsters. Even on the top of the mountain, there are half-step golden immortal masters sitting here, just because there are I-Soul spirits there. Xiao Tianyuan heard this and said calmly, although the I-Soul spirit appears according to the laws of heaven and earth. But it's also about choosing the right place. Mount Everest is not only the highest mountain in the world today. The climate environment is also the coldest place in existence today. More importantly, there is an earth core flame on the top of the peak. The two environments exist at the same time. It can ensure the survival of the I-Soul spirit, and the spiritual energy there is rich, so it is the best place to appear. Everyone nodded after hearing this. It's no wonder that the family's forces are so heavily guarded. The ice spirit is powerful, and it is the only spiritual creature in the world that has a spiritual form. Even if you find the ice spirit, you may not be able to recognize it. Then the cultivator they find will die suddenly before they recognize their master. They wouldn't be gathered here now. Several elders in the family were worried. At this time, Xiao Tianyuan stood up. But if you put it this way, they do have some chances. If that's the case, let me go there myself. It's better to look for other alternatives, which may come faster. Instead of pinning your hopes on Bing Pojing. There is nothing shameful about that big family and sect. When everyone learned about their approach, they didn't feel anything wrong. Chopin punched the table with regret. Plus that family is heavily guarded, it's going to be even more difficult. After all, countless cultivators have died due to accidents or lack of ability during the training process. Xiao Junlin's words made everyone immediately realize that something was wrong. It's just that it's not put out in the open. Xiao Junlin shook his head and changed the topic, not entirely. Although that family strictly guards Mount Everest, they open it up to the outside world for exploration every year. Once the existence of Bing Pojing is discovered, the golden immortal in the family will be aware of it. I'm afraid there's some shady thing going on here. A place that costs a fortune to guard. Those people's open exploration of Mount Everest was just to find the existence of the ice spirit for themselves. If you can find the ice soul essence, you can make it your own. In their view, the birth of Bing Pojing had no connection with Xiaoxian. Everyone who enters will have a family ghost following behind them. Just as they thought. After all, the existence of the ice spirit is not something that ordinary people can possess. What do you mean by this? Therefore, the opening of Mount Everest every year attracts a large number of outsiders to explore. Would you let others take your treasure away so easily? If you find high-level treasures, magic weapons, etc., outsiders won't think much of it. So he rushed to the scene as soon as possible and took it as his own. I wish I could destroy that family. Even if we find the specific location of the ice spirit, the current situation does not allow us to go and search for it. But if they really have such a substitute,